Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina show. I am the host, Tina Thompson. So glad to have you watching the show. I've got a couple of great guests coming up. An old friend of mine, Shane Ronan. He is a bagpiper, and he's bringing a friend of his, Scotty from Scotland. So they are going to be out and about on St. Patrick's Day. So don't go anywhere, folks, because they are going to share with us one of the places that they're going to be, and they're even going to play some music for us. So if you are a fan of bagpipes and that style of music, then you're definitely going to enjoy it. I also have a young man who is the director of an upcoming production at Millersport Community Theater, and he is going to share with us a little bit about that and what that production is going to be and when you can get tickets and all of the good nitty-gritty info, the meat of that. So it's Down Home with Tina, and I'll be right back.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
You walked down the aisle and promised happily ever after. Sometimes happily ever after means ending a relationship. We know the conversations are not easy. Deciding what's best for you, your children, and your next steps takes work and communication. At Dagger Law, we know there are no monsters in a divorce, only people trying to find their way. Local, trusted, experienced. Dagger Law.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have a couple of bagpipers with me, and I'm really excited because they are going to play a song for us here in a little bit. But some of you may recognize and be familiar with Shane Ronan, a really good friend of mine, which I want to thank you so much, Shane, for being available to play Amazing Grace with the bagpipes at my father's funeral. So thank you for that.
Oh, it was my honor.
Oh my goodness, it was just an amazing day. So we're going to talk about some fun festivities that's coming up, and it's easier said by some, but not me today, well, apparently.
The Patty's Day is coming up.
It really is, and it'll be here before we know it. And I've got Scotty from Scotland today. He is another bagpiper that is going to be out and about with you on that big day, March 17th. Welcome to the show. Do you want to say something first? Because I'm going to talk all to Scotty because I have you all the time.
Yeah, just you know what? This is my buddy, and you know what? I'm glad that he's coming out with me, and hopefully there might be a couple more show up, but if not, we'll carry the heavy load on the Patty's Day.
What time are you going to start?
6 o'clock. We'll be at Sweeney's.
Sweeney's at 6 o'clock, and who knows where from there.
Right. We plan to do a couple of establishments. It's just scheduling.
And they can follow you.
And they can follow us around, yep, and they'll know where we're going beforehand.
Perfect, perfect. Scotty,
ma'am,
the camera is on you, bud. No, it is so nice to have you, and just to talk about, I want to have you share a little bit about your upbringing in Scotland, because you are from Scotland.
I think so. I think I am. Basically, the difference is, from Scotland to here, believe it or not, is the parade thing with St. Patrick's Day didn't actually start over there. It actually started here in America. I believe it was around about 1762, if I was to be precise. And people in Ireland actually followed on. Not going too much into the history of that, but coming up, being brought up in Scotland, we tend to recognise St. Patrick's Day. Obviously, a lot of the Irish people that live there in Scotland will recognise St. Patrick's Day, and we have our own day over there too, St. Andrew's Day. But it's all about St. Patrick's Day. As far as the bagpipes are concerned, I grew up fascinated more than anything else, just wanting to know what it was. Why can't I do that?
Okay, in Scotland, do a lot of folks play the bagpipes, or is it just kind of like here, it's not very often, or what is it like over there? Is it everywhere? Is it at every corner? You know what I mean?
Good question.
I've just not visited Scotland yet, so I'm interested in finding out those who haven't. Yeah.
I think it's more who wants to do it, you know, if they're interested in playing the bagpipes. I guess the same with Ireland too. More to the point. I want to do it. They express the interest in it. There's a lot of people, or a lot of bands, pipe bands in Scotland and Ireland. So I guess it's just basically who wants to do it, who has that interest. Does it run in their family? Is it something dad did or their mum did or something? I think it's more interest than anything else.
And kilts are worn when the bagpipes are played.
Yeah.
Over there? Yeah. I mean, are they or no?
Yes.
Same thing?
Yeah, typically, yeah.
Typically?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess if you're a band and you just want to do a practice, obviously, you know, jeans or t-shirt. But normally, yes, the kilt is worn, or the full regalia.
And that is to, probably in some cases, I don't know, to represent their family heritage? Is that what it is? And their kilt and collars and stuff? Or has that changed, or is that...
No, I guess the band will wear the kilts that Shane and I have on is actually the weathered black watch, meaning a toned down colour of the one that they'll normally wear.
Okay.
Or if you are a clan, you will
clan related, yes.
Yeah, you will wear the colours. Yes.
And they have regional kilts.
Okay,
from
they do.
Certain regions, like where my people came from in Ireland, they have one specific region, regional kilt, whereas Northern Ireland has a different, you know. And I think, and not to tag on to yours, I think with Scotland, of course, everybody knows Scotland with the kilts.
Yes. Yes.
You know, that's, and mainly the Irish wore the saffron kilts, you know, the orange and the green, even though they have different family kilts. But the Scottish are the ones well known, and the pipes that we play are Great Highland pipes.
Okay.
Okay, the Scottish have their own version. I mean, every culture has their own version. The Turks have theirs, but these are the one. When you hear bagpipes, that's what everybody thinks of, which is the Scottish side, which is predominantly, not to be stereotypical, but when you hear bagpipes, you think of Scotland.
You do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know.
Right.
I do. Yeah. Just because it's my
Just to
family heritage,
elaborate
but-
Right.
on what Shane was saying, it's more in Ireland. It was more done by regions. So you would
Okay.
identify a region with a solid colour, whereas with Scotland you would identify the tartan with a different clan.
What about the music and the bagpipes and the sound of? Did you identify different as well with the color? Did they create their own?
Thanks
Or
to
is it, yeah,
sorry.
kind of across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, the Irish have other types of pipes too, but mainly for the Great Highland bagpipes, the tunes are basically the same. They are the same, and it was thanks to the older generation when the tartans and the music was actually banned by the English. It was thanks to the Irish and the Scottish older generations. They kept the tunes and they kept the colours of the tartans in their head, and that's how they put it down through the generations.
And with the Great Highland pipes, there's strictly like the tunes, and the tune we'll play today, which a lot of bagpipe music was not made for the bagpipes. Like, for instance, Amazing Grace was not written for the bagpipes.
Yeah.
It's just played well on the bagpipes.
Yes.
But the Great Highland Pipes has a style of music called pibroch, which is made strictly for bagpipes.
Really?
Yes. And I don't want to call them show tunes, but like we play the bouncier stuff, you know, the Scotland the Brave, Minstrel Boy, Rowan Tree, Wearing of the Green. Those are all like band tunes, moving
Okay.
groups of men here and there. Whereas pibroch, that style of music was written strictly for the bagpipes.
Okay.
Okay.
What will you be playing for St. Patrick's Day? What
We'll
type of style?
be playing the bouncy.
Yes. Yeah, I figured.
The foot
Not
tapper.
Amazing Grace.
Here's the thing is with pibroch music, people don't know that unless you play the pipes. Okay, people expect, you know, when you if you're in a club, they want to hear, you know, Wearing the Green, Minstrel Boy, Scotland the Brave, Rowan. They want to hear all that.
Right.
You know, the stuff that they can tap to, they can go, you know, yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So fortunately, on this St. Patty's Day, I got my brother with me.
That's awesome.
Who is a piper.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can go the whole night. You know, I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, I have no doubt it's going to be a great time. How many years have you played, Scotty?
I've been playing for about 30 years.
30 years.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about it?
Patriotic. I think it's just because of the fact I'm from Scotland, and I relate back to my roots, my generations.
When you feel it.
I do. I
feel that music.
Yeah,
when you're from there. You have it in your blood, in your soul, I feel.
I feel somewhere along past generations, yes, there's got to be somewhere there in my family that's done it. I think. I hope.
Yes.
I hope.
Well, I know. Anything else before St. Patty's Day, folks? They're starting out at Sweeney's.
Yeah, we'll be at Sweeney's at 6.
Yeah.
You want to hear us? Come on out. We'll be around town.
And Scotty, you have a loved one in Scotland that you would like to shout out?
Yes, I do. I'd just like to. I'd like to tell my wee ma that I love and I miss you. And I hopefully she'll be home soon.
Yay! All right, folks, don't go anywhere because Scotty and Shane are going to play some bagpipes. We'll be right back. It's Down Home with Tina.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Alex Lape. In my 30-year law enforcement career, I have seen many different trends in illicit drug trade and substance use disorders. Fentanyl is the deadliest drug that I have ever encountered. Very minuscule amounts can be fatal. Fentanyl is present in most mainstream illicit drugs. Drug cartels are now pressing fentanyl into forms that appear to be common candies. Ingesting any of these fake candies or pills can have fatal overdose effects. This ongoing drug epidemic requires a balanced approach. We must focus our attentions and resources on treatment and education in conjunction with enforcement efforts that hold those who traffic in dangerous drugs accountable. For your sake and the sake of your family, do not take any medications that are not issued through prescriptions by your pharmacy. Thank you.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have Shane with me as well as Scotty, and they are going to play the bagpipes, and they're going to play a song called Balmoral.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
It is Down Home with Tina. I have Ethan Mauger with me. He is the director of an upcoming production that's going to take place of the Millersport Community Theater, and he is also the president of the board of directors.
Yes.
With that as well. And the production that you have got coming up, it's going to be in April.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to talking about that, I want to share with folks a little bit about you and your history and acting.
Okay.
Is it something that you have been involved with for many years, or did you just start right after you were in high school?
Yeah, so my parents have been big music nerds forever, and my mom especially. She's a huge Broadway fan. Although she hasn't seen that many productions, she's one of those people that keeps all the albums, knows all the history of all these different shows.
Nice.
And so when I was a kid, I mean, I think Chicago was one of the first things that my parents ever showed me, The Music Man, things like that. And so Once Upon a Mattress is kind of one of those shows for me that I've known ever since I was four or five. It's like one of the first things that my mom ever showed me. So when we decided to do this show, it was kind of like a nice nostalgia trip for me, because it's something that it's a show that I've always been very close to. It's part of my personal history, So yeah, my parents were always big into music and musical theater, and then
Big into it? Does that mean they were involved in it as well, or they just listened and watched?
They're audience members.
I love that. Okay, that's what I was. Yeah.
Yeah, and my dad, he went to Liberty Union, which is where I went to school as well, and he graduated in '81. And coincidentally, this was a show that he helped backstage in at Liberty Union when he was in school. So it's also like my dad used to share stories with all the stuff he did backstage for that show when he was in high school. So yeah, and
does he give you advice and stuff like now with what you're doing now?
Yeah, he's a very creatively minded person. So especially when it comes to mechanical stuff, he's always got ideas of how things can be put together and things like that. So yeah, he always likes sharing stories about just little things that, issues that he found that he said, oh, well, we can do it this way, and somehow I did not inherit that whatsoever.
That's funny.
I cannot look at small mechanical problems and figure things out that quickly.
Yeah.
So,
when was your first production or play that you did?
So I went to school at Liberty Union, and the first show that I ever did was, I think I was in the 5th grade, and they were doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And I was in the children's chorus. I had never done a show before. I mean, I'd only watched like movies and things like that. And I was in the children's chorus for that show. And that, just watching the high schoolers do that, just kind of struck my brain. And it's everybody finds their thing. Mm-hmm. And you have that moment where you're like, oh, so this is what I'm supposed to do. And they waited a couple years, and then my sophomore year of high school, they did Annie, and I was Rooster, who's kind of the villain in that story, very famously played by Tim Curry in the movie, alongside Carol Burnett and Bernadette Peters, and so it was a role that I had seen. It was another one of those roles. It was like I've watched this movie so many times as a little kid.
Did you know the script before you even had to go do it?
There were a few things. There were a few things that I definitely had memorized before I even auditioned for that show. Yeah, and so that was a very cool, like, oh, this is something I've always wanted to do, and now I've done it. And it just never stopped from there. It was just a speeding train. We followed that with Beauty and the Beast 2 years later. I was the Beast in that.
Nice.
Being 6'5" and a baritone. I don't think I had a choice. There were
they were making you.
Yeah, there were a couple roles that I wanted, and I kind of wanted to be Lumiere the Candlestick, and I got cast as the Beast, and you can't really complain when you get cast as the lead as much as you want to.
That's right.
So, so there was that, and then in that time I started doing shows over at Ohio University Lancaster with Victor Jones. He's the artistic director over there.
Yep.
I did Wizard of Oz, and then Grease the next summer, and then Hello Dolly the next summer, and then what was it? And then Jekyll and Hyde that spring, Legally Blonde. I'm trying to remember all of them.
A lot of them.
Yeah, I was backstage for I Hate Hamlet and Almost Maine, and then COVID year, so nothing happened for a while. And then what was the comeback?
I can't think of it either.
Yeah, I can't think of what started after that. But
when did you get involved with Millersport Community Theater?
Yeah, so it was my sophomore, junior year at high school. Let me try that again. It was my sophomore or junior year of high school, so 2016, 2017. Millersport had been doing a spring variety show every year for decades.
Yes.
Millersport Community Theater has been around since 1976. And Jeff Dupler, who is one of the, if not the oldest surviving member of Millersport Community Theater, he was the first president of the board back in 1976, is the nurse over at Liberty Union. And he started doing a sort of drama club thing at the middle school and high school. And I had heard about Millersport, but I had seen a couple of the variety shows, and he thought maybe I'd like to be involved in one. So I went and tried out, and I ended up doing a couple things in the first couple of variety shows there, and then obviously COVID happened. So I think I was in three of the little variety shows, and then everything kind of shut down. I think there was a point where they were kind of wondering what they were going to do.
Right.
Our predecessors were kind of wondering, are we going to keep this going?
Aww.
And then obviously in 2021, Brent and Joanna Lavoie came back, and they decided, Joanna has a rich history with Millersport Community Theater.
Yes.
That's where she and her family are from. And they decided we want to come back and kind of revive this and make it something really, really special. And so they started doing shows. They started with The Wedding Singer in 2021, summer of 2021. Mm-hmm. And they're dear friends of mine, and so
nice.
I saw that show, and I was really impressed with what they had brought back to that organization.
And here we are now.
Yeah, and so we are 5-6 shows in with this one, I think.
Nice.
So they started this up, and we've come a long way.
So tell us, Ethan, what is Once Upon a Mattress?
So Once Upon a Mattress is a sort of farcical retelling of The Princess and the Pea. It was, I should know this, I don't, but I should know this. It's sort of a Broadway classic from kind of what a lot of people think of as the golden age of Broadway, kind of the 60s and 70s. It's actually a role that Carol Burnett was famous for. So everybody knows the name Carol Burnett.
Absolutely.
Well, this is the role that made the name Carol Burnett.
Wow.
As Princess Winifred, who is the princess that nobody thinks is a princess. She swims the moat before to get into the castle because she's so excited to get there and be tested to marry the prince. And brain fart here. She swims the moat because she's so excited to try to marry the prince, and so a lot of people think, well, if she swam the moat, she didn't arrive here on horseback or in a carriage. How could she possibly be a princess? And she does all these these crazy things, like she can lift enormous amounts of weight, and there's a whole song about all the interesting things that she can do that aren't very normal for a princess. And Carol Burnett is famous for characters like that are just goofy and not conventional for a woman, right? She was the original big name that made this show what it is. And
Ethan, who are some of the cast members?
Our cast is fairly fresh when it comes to lead roles, but they're very, very talented. Ashley James is our Winifred, our lead. Her prince, Dauntless, is Zach Duvall. Very, very funny. He's got a rich history with clowning. He's a professional clown, actually, on the side.
Nice.
And he teaches over in Granville. I'm trying to think. Our queen, Agravain, our kind of villain character, is Misty Connor, and she's also a very popular name in Millersport and Lancaster.
In Lancaster, yeah.
Russ Connor, who is no relation to Misty actually, has done a lot of shows over at Licking County Players and Weather Vane Playhouse, and he was actually a professional mime at one point, which is helpful for his character, the King Sextimus, because King Sextimus cannot talk. He had a curse put upon him, and so there's a lot of miming that he is required to do, and so he said this is a show that he's wanted to do since the 70s, and he's finally done it. And Jeff Dupler, which is the name that I mentioned before, he's joined us again, which is always very fun because he's very funny and loves being with us.
So we are about out of time. So how can folks get tickets and the dates of where Millersport Community Theater does their productions?
Okay, so tickets you can get on mctohio.com. They are not on sale yet, but they will be soon. Our member tickets will start February 15th, I believe, is when we start our member sales. So if you're a member of Millersport Community Theater, you can we'll provide you a code and you can get your tickets with a small discount early, and then I think 2 weeks after that is when tickets go public.
Okay.
So you can go to mctohio.com and there's a ticket link right there on the website. You can also go to our Facebook page, and as soon as tickets go up, we will post, and every post that we make will have a ticket link on it.
Perfect.
And we do all of our shows at Millersport Elementary School, so that's where the shows will be.
And the date?
Yes, so the show is the weekend of April 14th, 15th, and 16th. April 14th and 15th, it'll be at 7:30 p.m. and April 16th, it'll be at 2 p.m. a matinee. So
perfect. You are so super easy to talk with. So thank you so much, Ethan. Good luck with everything for that production, Once Upon a Mattress. Folks, don't go anywhere. I've got a little message coming up next. It's Downhill with Tina.
I want a doctor who listens to me.
From primary care to specialty medicine, we put your needs first by treating you like a person, not a number. Our primary care team will help you identify your healthcare needs and set goals for success, regardless of where you are in your wellness journey. We care for patients of all ages, with offices that are close to you. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
Downhill with Tina is brought to you by these wonderful sponsors. Also, Fairfield Town Crier. It is a paper that you will get and see every couple of weeks. So if you will just check them out and see all the fun articles and great articles they have in that. Folks, recently I was asked, well, it's probably been about a month, to participate in a Bible study. Some people like to do Bible studies, some don't. This is not through my church that I go through. A friend of mine just decided to get a book, and I really thought it would be really cool just to share it with you. It kind of ties in also with when my dad passed and stuff. We had somebody speak on it, and the pastor who was there, he got to talk a little bit about the heroes and things of the Bible and messy people. And the heroes of the Bible, they were messy people, and some folks may not realize that. And so the Bible study, I thought is so ironic that it's a women's Bible study, is called Messy People, and it's life lessons from imperfect biblical heroes. And so the reason why I wanted to talk about this with you today is that even myself, as somebody who's single and at my age, there's messy everywhere. Everybody's got messy, and it could be really bad messy, or it could just be a little bit messy. And when you read some of the Bible stories and you hear some of those who became kings and things like that, and they were the true heroes of the Bible, it was messy for them. So messy is okay. Messy is okay when I think that you learn from that lesson and you move forward and you persevere through it. Because we're all going to have times when things just aren't going to be perfect, and it's okay to be messy, because you know what? You just got to stand up and polish yourself off the best you can and just go at it, because it's your life, one life to live. Live your best, even if you have a little bit of messy. Thanks so much for watching this week's show. It's Downhill with Tina.